Have you ever seen a girl vanish at sunset? She walked into a silent forest. And no one ever returned the same. Tonight, we will reveal the secrets hidden in the shadows of the forest. Do you dare follow her? The sun was dipping below the horizon, painting the sky in fiery shades of orange and red. The small village seemed calm, but a strange stillness lingered in the air. Birds had stopped singing, and even the wind felt hesitant. Mai walked along the dusty path, her feet crunching softly against the dry soil. The scent of jasmine floated from the nearby garden, but it was faint, almost ghostly. She carried a small basket filled with herbs she had gathered from the field. Her shadow stretched long and thin, following her like a silent companion. The rustling of leaves behind her made her glance over her shoulder. No one was there. A faint whisper echoed from the forest edge, soft but unmistakable. Mai froze. She shook her head, telling herself it was only the wind. The sun was almost gone, and the first hints of twilight painted the trees in dark purple hues. The shadows seemed to move, shifting unnaturally with every step she took. Her heart began to race, but she tried to remain calm. As she reached the clearing near the river, she noticed a figure standing among the reeds. The figure was small, delicate, and motionless. It was a girl, her long hair glinting faintly in the last light of day. Mai called out, her voice trembling. The girl did not move or respond. Suddenly, the air grew colder, brushing against Mai's skin like icy fingers. The basket slipped from her hands, spilling herbs across the ground. She took a cautious step closer. The girl was no longer there. Panic gripped Mai. She scanned the clearing, her eyes darting through the shadows that now seemed alive. A sudden rustle behind her made her spin around. Nothing. Only the wind, or so she thought. The sun had fully disappeared, leaving only the dim glow of twilight. Mai felt a pressure in her chest, a warning she could not ignore. The forest seemed to breathe, each gust of wind carrying an unfamiliar whisper. Her legs moved before her mind could catch up. She ran. The path she had taken was gone, swallowed by the encroaching darkness. Every tree looked identical, their twisted branches forming a labyrinth. Mai shouted for help, but her voice returned only echoes, distorted and strange. Then she felt it. A cold brush against her arm, soft yet urgent. She turned, and the clearing was empty again. The girl had vanished. Mai stumbled to her knees, her eyes searching desperately. The shadows closed in, thick and suffocating. Something unseen watched her, patient and waiting. Her mind screamed, telling her to run, to escape. Yet her body remained frozen, trapped in the moment. A whisper, closer this time, called her name. Mai knew then she was not alone. The air shimmered, and the faint outline of the girl appeared, hovering just beyond reach. Her eyes glowed with a strange, unearthly light. Mai reached out, but the girl drifted backward. Each second stretched into eternity. The wind carried a chilling laughter, soft and mocking. Mai realized she had crossed the boundary of the familiar and entered something else. A place where the sunset no longer belonged to the living. The girl moved closer, and yet, when Mai blinked, she was gone again. A sudden shiver ran down her spine as she heard her own name whispered once more, not from the girl, but from all around her. The night swallowed the clearing, leaving Mai alone with the echoes. Her pulse raced, and every instinct screamed to escape, but the path she had come from no longer existed. The whispers grew louder, circling, enveloping her in an unseen grip. And then, she understood. The girl was never lost. She had been waiting for Mai. Waiting for someone to see, to step too close. And now, Mai was part of the sunset, part of the shadows that moved with every gust of wind. She ran, she screamed, yet the forest held her as if she had always belonged. The last rays of light disappeared, leaving nothing but darkness and the faint outline of a girl who vanished at sunset. The forest seemed endless now, each tree a towering shadow stretching into the darkness. Mai could not tell which way was forward, which way was behind. Every step she took was swallowed by the blackness, the soft earth beneath her feet muffling her movement. The whispers continued, closer now, surrounding her from all directions. It was not just one voice, but many, overlapping in a soft, eerie harmony. Her heart thudded painfully against her ribcage. The hairs on her arms stood on end. She pressed her hands to her ears, trying to block the sound, but it only grew louder. Mai. The name called again, slower, deliberate, and full of warning. She spun in every direction, searching, but the darkness revealed nothing. The basket of herbs lay abandoned behind her. She could feel its presence, even in the shadows, as if it were a tether to the world she had known. But the whispers told her the tether was fraying. A faint glow appeared ahead, barely noticeable at first. Mai squinted, unsure if it was real or just a trick of her eyes. The light pulsed softly, like the heartbeat of the forest itself. She felt drawn to it, despite the cold terror clutching her chest. As she walked toward it, the air grew thicker, almost liquid, pressing against her skin. Branches reached out as if to touch her, twisting unnaturally in the dim glow. She stumbled, catching herself on a tree trunk that felt far older than it should. Its bark was rough and warm, almost pulsing beneath her fingers. The light grew brighter, revealing the faint outline of a small clearing. There, in the center, stood the girl. Her hair shimmered in colors that did not belong to this world, shifting from dark blue to gold to crimson. Her eyes were wide and empty, yet somehow piercing, seeing straight into Mai's soul. Mai opened her mouth, but no words came out. The girl raised a hand slowly, beckoning. Something in Mai urged her to run, yet her feet moved closer on their own. The whispers now formed words, though they made no sense. Do not leave, do not return, follow. Mai's mind screamed in confusion. Her vision blurred as shadows moved at the edge of her sight. Figures, faceless, gliding between trees, circling the clearing. The girl's lips moved, forming words without sound. Mai felt a pressure in her chest, as if invisible hands were holding her heart. The forest seemed alive, breathing, whispering secrets older than the village itself. The air smelled of wet soil and decay, yet beneath it lingered something sweet, almost intoxicating. She stepped into the clearing fully. The girl's eyes locked onto hers. Then she vanished. Mai stumbled back, terrified, but the glow remained. It shifted, moving along the ground, forming a faint path between the trees. Against her better judgment, she followed. Each step was heavier than the last, as though the forest were claiming her. The whispers became a chant, soft at first, then louder, echoing with a rhythm that made her pulse quicken unnaturally. Something brushed against her ankle. She froze. A hand. A root. No. A shadow rose, tall and indistinct, its edges shimmering with the same strange light as the girl. Mai's breath caught in her throat. The shadow tilted its head, observing her, patient, unyielding. She tried to turn and run, but her legs refused. The path behind her had disappeared. Panic surged through her body, raw and relentless. Her hands trembled as she reached out, desperate to touch anything solid, anything familiar. The glow ahead pulsed again, forming a circle of light around a stone altar she had never seen before. The air hummed, vibrating with a sound that was felt more than heard. Mai approached, drawn as if by some invisible thread. The ground beneath her shifted subtly, as if alive. The altar was covered in carvings she could not understand. Symbols that writhed and moved when she looked directly at them. Her eyes watered from the strain of trying to comprehend the patterns. Then she saw it. A small figure crouched atop the altar. The girl. Her head was bowed, and the hair shimmered with the same unnatural light. Mai's voice came out in a whisper. Who? What are you? The girl lifted her head slowly. Her eyes glowed brighter, filling the clearing with a soft, pulsating light. Mai felt a wave of heat, then cold, washing over her simultaneously. The forest groaned around her, branches snapping and leaves falling like rain. The shadows twisted, converging toward the altar. The girl's mouth opened. Words came, not in sound, but in thoughts, flooding Mai's mind. Lost, trapped, join, or leave. Mai staggered backward, trying to comprehend. The shadows advanced, circling, pressing closer. Her breath was ragged, and tears streamed down her face. The altar glowed brighter, illuminating the clearing as if it were the only light in existence. The girl reached out. Her hand passed through the light, straight into Mai's chest. Mai screamed, a sound that did not echo. Her vision split into fragments, showing glimpses of forests she had never seen, skies that burned with impossible colors, rivers that flowed upward. The shadows surged closer. Her feet lifted from the ground, carried forward by a force she could not resist. The girl's eyes bore into hers, calm and unyielding. Choose, the thoughts commanded. Mai's mind raced, desperate for escape, for reason. Her heart pounded. The whispers became louder, shouting, chanting, pleading. The light expanded, engulfing everything. Mai felt her body dissolve into the warmth, then the cold, then nothing. Her last thought was of the sunset she had seen hours ago. And then she was falling, endlessly, into the darkness that was both everywhere and nowhere. The clearing stood silent once more. The altar empty. Only the wind moved, whispering secrets through the trees. And somewhere, in the shadows, a faint glow shimmered, waiting for the next one who dared to follow. Dash 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 dash. The glow in the clearing began to fade, slowly, like the last embers of a fire. The shadows retreated, dissolving into the forest, leaving the trees still and silent once more. Mai felt herself gently lowered to the ground, her body whole, her heart racing, but no longer weighed by terror. The girl appeared one last time, standing at the edge of the clearing. Her eyes were calm now, filled with something soft and almost human. Mai did not speak. The girl smiled faintly, a gesture that carried both sorrow and understanding. Then she turned, slowly walking back into the forest. With each step, her figure shimmered and blurred, until she vanished entirely. The whispers ceased. The air returned to its normal rhythm, carrying the familiar scents of jasmine and earth. Mai rose to her feet, trembling, but filled with a strange sense of peace. The sun's first rays broke over the horizon, painting the village in golden light. The path she had walked the day before reappeared, solid and familiar. Mai took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of the morning sun on her face. She carried her basket of herbs, now whole, as if nothing had happened. But she knew better. Something had changed inside her. The forest still held its secrets, but Mai had faced them and returned. She would never forget the girl at sunset, or the lessons whispered by shadows and light. From that day on, Mai moved with caution and awareness, respecting the unseen world around her. And though the sunset would always bring a hint of unease, she learned to carry its memory like a quiet warning. The girl who vanished at sunset had not been lost. She had been waiting for someone to understand. And Mai had understood. The forest remained, alive with mystery, but its terror had passed, for now. Mai walked home, the village waking around her. And in her heart, a spark of courage glowed, shining brighter than the last rays of sunset.